approaches when it comes to callback functions, different solutions. And for now, I would just want to show you both methods, essentially 4 methods, and then we'll just move on to the next topic. And in order to set this up, in this case, I'm just going to destructure right away the methods that I'm looking for. And in the first video, we'll take a look at the synchronous ones. So that's why I'll destructure read file and sync, and that is coming from require. And then the module name is fs. Again, please keep in mind, it would be the same thing if I were to go like this, fs, and then fs, and whatever the name. I was going with read file sync, and of course I have access to it. I'm just showing you a different way how we can access those methods. We just destructure them out of the fs module. And then the second one will be write file sync. And then once I've destructured both of them, then I'm going to set up 2 variables. So first, we'll read 2 files. We haven't created those files yet, but in a second we will. And then eventually we'll create a new file with write file sync. So I would want you to go to the content folder. If you haven't created, then I suggest creating one. And I mean, I'll keep the subfolder just because I believe the path module is still using it. But in the content, I'll create a new file. So not in the subfolder, but actually in the content. I'll say first, and then txt. So this, by the way, sets it up in the content. So let me move it up. Or I'm sorry, this sets it up in a subfolder, I believe. And it tells me, do I want to move? Yes, I would like to move. And now I have the content that has the first txt. And then I have the subfolder with test.txt. Of course, if you want, you can place it in a subfolder. That's really up to you. But in my case, I would want them simply in a content. So I'll go with the second one, txt. And as far as the values, I'll say hello. This is first text file. And then, of course, we can copy and paste the value and just change it around to the second file. So in the second txt, we'll say second text file. And once we have both of the text files, now let's take a look at how we can read from the file system. And since we have read file sync, we know it is a method. And in that method, we need to provide 2 parameters. We need to provide a path to that specific file, as well as, well, what is the encoding. So the node knows how to decode the file. And generally, you'll go with UTF-8. And we'll first go with first. That's my variable. We'll go with read file sync, my method name. And like I said, we provide a path. We go to the content. And then inside of the content, there's going to be a first txt. And then as far as the encoding, the default one will be UTF-8. But if you want to be a bit specific, just set up the second parameter. And notice these are all your options. And just go with UTF-8. Okay. And then once we have everything in place, of course, we can copy and paste. This is going to be the value for the second one. And we just need to change the file name, of course. So we have the second one. And now in the console log, we should see both of the texts. So if I go with console log first and then second, I should have one long text. And let's go with node and app.js. And there it is. I have hello. This is a first text file. And I also have hello. This is the second text file. And once I have both of them, why don't we create a new file? And the method for that is write file sync. And the way it works, again, we provide 2 values, 2 arguments. One is going to be the file name. And if the file is not there, then of course, node will create that file. And you'll see that in a second. And the second one is the value that we would want to pass. And I'm going to go with write file sync. And like I said, first is going to be a path. So you can call this third, you can call this result, whatever you would want. In my case, I'm going to go with / content. And then we're looking for result and then sync. And this is going to be txt. And then as far as the value, if you want, you can simply pass hello world and test it. In my case, I'm going to make it a bit more interesting, where we'll set up a template string. We'll say here is the result. And why don't we use the interpolation where we'll say first and second. So we'll have first value and then the second value. And you know what? Why don't we add here colon as well? So let's say first, and then let's place a comma, and then we're going to go with second. Again, if the file is not there, then of course Node will create one. And if the file is already there, Node by default will overwrite all the values that are in the file. And I'll show you that in a second. So I'm going to go here with Node and app.js and check it out. Now I have result sync txt. And then inside there, I have here's the result. Hello, this is first text file. And then also have hello, this is second text file. And just to showcase that if there are some values, they will be overwritten by Node. Well, if I go with simple hello world and then I run node app.js, again, I have my new result. Now, if you just want to append to the file, well, we need to pass in one more argument. Notice I have the first one. I have the value that I would like to set up in the file. And the third one is an object, basically an options object. And here the property name is flag. And if you'll set this flag equal to A, then Node will append this. And the easiest way for me to show you that is run node app.js. And now we should have two results. So we have here is the result. And notice how we're starting a new line. Why? Well, because by default, we are overriding everything. And then when we add that flag, then of course we create a new value. So these are two very useful methods that we can use with Node to read files as well as create ones from the scratch.